Today we're going to be making grilled chicken animal treats and flavored oral paste.
Chewable animal treats have a wide variety of therapeutic uses. Common uses include anxiolytics, antihistamines, and NSAIDs. They're easy to use because it's much easier for an animal to chew something than you attempting to get the animal to swallow it. Often, animals have no clue that their medicine is hidden in this, and they think that they're just getting a normal treat. Therefore, this improves patient compliance.
Because the class lab manual gives the amount of product we need to make a single treat, and the molds we will be using today have enough for 12 treats, we need to take the original amount needed of each item and multiply it by 12. We also want to account for 10% waste. Therefore, we will need 11.286 grams of base, 0.99 grams of xanthan gum, 1.98 milliliters of glycerin, and 3.56 grams of chicken flavor liquid.
To make chewable animal treats, here's what you'll need: a scale, mortar and pestle, scapula, weigh boats, graduated cylinders or syringe, Pam spray, as well as xanthan gum, base, flavoring, which we chose chicken, and glycerin.
Combine the base and xanthan gum in the mortar using the principles of geometric dilution. Geometric dilution is used in compounding when mixing an ingredient of a larger quantity with a second ingredient of a smaller quantity. The larger quantity is to be mixed into the smaller quantity in small portions. This is to ensure equal distribution of the drug throughout the compound. Next, add the flavor and glycerin to the mixture, and then mix until all the powder is moist and a dough is formed. Spray Pam onto your gloves and then knead the dough. The Pam helps to keep the dough from sticking to your gloves. If your mixture is not turning doughy, you may need to add additional glycerin. Knead dough into a uniform mass. Once uniform, the dough is ready to be packed. Pack the dough into the 12-piece amber round blister pack and scrape off any excess. Seal with the adhesive labels.
Per the lab manual, the beyond use date after compounding would be dependent on the active ingredient. When counseling animal owners on chewable animal treats, they should know that the compounded drug is for use in the intended animal only. They should not use this drug for any other animal in the house, because specific patient factors such as type of animal and weight are taken into consideration when adding the active ingredient. Monitor animal while they eat the treat to ensure that they finish it. If your animal refuses to eat the treat, let your veterinarian know immediately. Lastly, it's not intended for human consumption. When compounding, you should know pastes are always considered an oral dosage form. They should never be administered topically. They're commonly prescribed for horses or other animals where a high viscosity is needed. A couple common uses include NSAIDs and probiotics, but there's others out there as well. What we'll need for this compound is a 400 milliliter beaker, a spin bar, a dial-a-dose syringe, a balance, and a magnetic stir plate. We'll also need base C, base A, stevia, and a flavor of choice. Using the formulation in the lab manual, we should yield around 50 grams of paste. However, we want to account for waste. Because not very much paste is often lost, we decided to only account for 10% waste. Therefore, we will need 36.51 mils of base C, 18.69 grams of base A, 1.72 mils of a flavor of choice, and 0.29 grams of both stevia and acesulfame. If acesulfame potassium is not available, you can double the amount of stevia used, which is what we did.
Combine base A and base C in a 400 milliliter beaker with a stir bar. Melt the two bases together at 55 degrees Celsius with stirring until the bases are melted and thoroughly mixed. Turn off the heat and add the flavoring: acesulfame potassium and stevia. Stir until evenly dispersed and thickening occurs. Using the 60cc dial dose syringe, dial it to read 10. The syringe is read on the left side of the dial. Remove the plunger and place the cap on the barrel of the syringe. Place the syringe into a beaker with the capped end facing down. Load the compound into the barrel. Place the plunger into the barrel and, holding the syringe upright, slowly remove the cap and expel the air by pushing the plunger up until no air remains in the syringe. Reattach the cap. Lay the syringe flat on the counter to cool. Although our product does not contain an active ingredient, laying it flat would help allow for even dispersion of the active ingredient during cooling.
Per the lab manual, the beyond use date after compounding is estimated to be 180 days. We can explain this a little bit better during lab time, but to use the dial-a-dose syringe, make sure that the syringe cap is on and then hold the syringe so that the end with the cap is on your left. Confirm the amount in milliliters needed to be administered to the animal. Rotate the dial ring so that the left side of the ring lines up with the dose you need to administer. If you have a 60cc syringe and you are giving 15 mils per dose, the first time you'll rotate the dial ring to 15 mils. The second time, you'll rotate it to 30 mils, and so on. Once the left side of the ring is set to the correct amount for administration, remove the cap and administer to the animal by placing the tip in the syringe where administration will take place. Push the plunger until the dial ring hits the barrel. Afterwards, clean the tip of the syringe and replace the cap. When administering oral paste, make sure the animal has no food in its mouth. Rinse out if necessary. Squirt the entire contents of the syringe into the back of the mouth. Hold the animal's head up for a few seconds until they swallow. Know that this compounded drug is for the use in the intended animal only, and it's not for use in other animals in the household.